So we're very fortunate to have a guy that most of us know fairly well if you've been in Las Vegas for any amount of time. But Windom oversees the planning and development of all projects at TSKA. He has enhanced the quality and depth of the firm's portfolio with projects that provide clients with exceptional design solutions. He has guided the firm to prestigious honors. He's received the American Institute of Architects 1998 National Young Architects Award for Design and Leadership in the Profession, and the AIA Nevada's Young Architects Citation in 1995. He received the AIA Nevada Service Award in 2002. And this next statement, which I thought was very interesting, in 2004, Windom was inducted into the AIA's College of Fellows, an honor bestowed on only 6 other Nevada architects.
At the time.
So with that, please help me welcome Windom. Windom, welcome to Coffee with an Architect. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, I get with Randy an update. What is our total number of fellows now?
14.
Yeah, but back then, whenever that was written, Lee, sorry. Anyway, thank y'all for wanting to listen to anything I might have to say. I will promise to be hopefully entertaining. It's still early, right? And
yeah.
Coffee hadn't kicked in, but and I told Lee I'm pretty good at ad-libbing anything, so I'm here to discuss any topic.
So anyone want to jump in? If not, I could do a quick question to get us started. So maybe I'll do that. Hey, Windom. So
Kaylee raised her.
Oh, who did?
Raised hand.
Kaylee. I knew I could count on her. Go ahead, Kaylee.
I had to unmute. Hi, Kaylee Hasha with TJK Consulting Engineers. Obviously, my question is going to be a little bit biased as an MEP firm, but I'd like to know from your perspective what qualities you look for in your consultants to make the project successful. You know, what can we do to serve the architect better throughout the whole process?
Obviously, and don't, I mean, I would like, it's not price. I know a lot of consultants think it might be that. I mean, you know, there are certain people that, you know, when we're talking in the office, they're like, well, they're usually a little expensive, but it really, you get what you pay for, I think, in terms of that. But I think, you know, working with our consultants, it's really people that are collaborative and work closely with us. Don't, you know, have the sort of, we're doing it this way and you get what you get, but also, you know, make us look good with the clients. I mean, if our consultants have an issue, you know, it comes, the spotlight becomes on us. And, you know, our ability, I mean, it's all about the team, really, everybody on the team. So if we got one weak link, it can make the whole team look bad, and it affects all of us in business development and future work with those clients. So for me, it's really good communication, and, you know, same as we work hard to try to get repeat work with the client and do our best job, but the same with the consultants, you know, we expect that same kind of dedication and effort. And, you know, sometimes I don't, you know, and the same in our office, we have people that are, you know, maybe more skilled, and, you know, you've got a lot of work in, and you got to kind of, sometimes there's an A team and a B team, and, you know, we're always asking for the A team, but, you know, we also know that's not always possible. It all depends on workload, timing, and all those things. But so those are some of the factors we have. But if, you know, and in my firm, my people that are managing the projects have a lot of say on who we're going to use. And I've kind of got the veto power, but, you know, I'm not going to make them happy if they don't get to work with who they want to. So sometimes if you're doing business development with an architect, I mean, make sure you understand who's really making that decision about who we're using on a project too, right? Just because I'm the, you know, the owner of the company doesn't mean I'm making that call. If everybody says, hey, we want to try these people out, or we always like working with them, you know, why would I, you know, shove someone on them that they don't want to work with? So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Windom, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm curious. We'd like you to look at your crystal ball, and what do you see coming down the road the next 6 months, the next year or so? I mean, I think we all have ideas as to what's coming, but I'd be curious to see to hear what you're seeing and thinking right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm a little worried. I was just at the planning commission this week, and Dave Froman was there on the UNLV Med School. And we were just talking about, you know, funding for the higher ed projects, right, at UNLV, which we've seen, you know, everything cut way back. I'm just, I'm talking locally, because we have offices in Northern Nevada and LA too, but locally, I think it's, it's going to be a lot more competitive for what there is out there. And we do a lot of public work, and that, is highly affected by, the taxes that come in. And I think that's obviously dropped. So, the school district, I think, will stay fairly like steady as a client for people because of the bond money. But we start looking at other public, entities. I mean, how are they going to fund some of these projects? I mean, maybe it gets to where there's more money for design, where we can take it, but the construction side, which is the big cost, I think is going to hold some things up. I just have a feeling next year is going to be a little skimpy on new projects, and that's just the reality. We have to be aware of that, but doesn't mean you can't do design, planning, other things up front, right? But if you're folks that are, looking at things on the construction side, think about the cliff that's coming with stadium, convention center. I mean, maybe construction prices, a lowering of that, but.
Oh, you muted.
Yep, muted, Windom.
Muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I think we got to just be really smart. There's probably a lot more planning work coming up, but I think the book of business right now for firms like ours is pretty strong into next year. But it's somewhere, springtime, mid of next year, I think, where we're going to start to feel some pain. I think it's inevitable. I mean, I don't want to be a pessimist, but you got to be realistic about it too.
No, I appreciate that. I think, I think a lot of us have.
Nope. Went on.
You got muted, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, I was just saying, no, I appreciate the sentiment. And I think a lot of us have similar thoughts. I mean, we have to approach things realistically. I mean, the fact of the matter is this is happening. It's going to continue to happen. And, there's already going to be ramifications down the road from the tax base, as you indicated. And plus, with hospitality, impact, which of course impacts everything locally. So
yeah, the hospitality. I mean, for our firm, we really don't do any hospitality. So we've actually, it's not right. We've hired four people during the pandemic, but how long is that really going to last? I don't know, but the hospitality side is going to be really tough. And you're not going to redesign spaces. I mean, this is something we talk about in our office. Do you redesign spaces for social distancing and all that? But how long is that really going to last? Forever? Once things get to a certain point, I think you wouldn't want to redesign your physical realm to keep everybody. It's just not human nature. So I don't see. I mean, at one point we thought, well, maybe there'll be a bunch of renovations and buildings to help with that. But I mean, although one thing we did here in Henderson, we have doors that open automatically now, hands-free faucets, little things like that. We didn't put up dividers between every desk, but we also don't have everybody back in the office either. We're probably 10, 15% of the people are in the office.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
I got a question. Morning, Windom. How are you?
Morning, Vic. How you doing?
If I was any better, I'd be suspicious. Let's just say that. As we, I'm bringing jokes. I got a mustache from the 70s and a bad haircut. As things changed in March, like a light switch for many of us on this call, we're all remote now. We were very fortunate in our organization that we had a pretty robust infrastructure for the IT side. So we went remote like within a couple of days. What do you see? How do you see this remote working impacting collaboration, not only in your own office, but between consultants and how we interface with owners? And we've got challenges with site visits. What do you think about this whole remote thing? Is it going to go back to office space? Or we're going to see a reinvention of how we work in our particular industry?
You know what? I would have said it can't work, but we did a losing proposition for the Henderson Event Center as design build team, but we did it all virtually. I don't know how we did it. We built, well, except for building a model, but somebody built that out, but everything was done virtually with consultants from all over the country. And, I was kind of impressed about how much work we got done in a short amount of time. with the communicating. But me as a being a person that's really into design, I personally have a hard time doing some of the design collaboration. But we've been using a couple tools, Slack and Miro. Miro's been pretty good about putting drawings up and things, but I still think it slows down the collaboration process, and you lose a little bit. It's a little frustrating, but you know, I could easily see you know, going forward having a significant amount of staff work from home much more often. You know, I think and so the demand for additional office space, although I'll tell you, I don't think someone, at least during the pandemic, are going to want to share a desk with someone else. I mean, you have hot desks, or, you know, those communal spaces seem to probably not make sense. But I think, but having more people just work from home long term, you know, for the rest of their careers, I think it's feasible. But I still think you've got to have team meetings to a certain degree. There's that human touch of being around the office, and we have a lot of people. I mean, we kind of made it voluntary for them to come in, and only up to a certain point. And I haven't seen a lot of takers, to be honest with you. And as you know, we're on a team on the convention center with Simpson Coulter and Carpenter Sellers Delgado and KME, and we kind of share what we're doing, and everybody's just got kind of a different way. But I mean, don't you think, Vic, a lot of this with technology probably you don't need to have as big an office space potentially, or at least have a lot more people doing remote. And the only thing is the job sites. I've seen people out there, you know, doing FaceTime, you know, showing conditions. But I think in construction, you really need to go look at things. And we have staff that are very uncomfortable with that, and staff that are more comfortable with that, right?
Yeah, I think the temporary side of the construction industry is this, you know, FaceTime remote. But I think you're right. We're going to have to get out to the side eventually. Regarding workspace, we're seeing the same thing you are, which is we're being quite successful being remote, which goes against what a lot of us would think. I think there's a certain amount of human collaboration that's missing. And so maybe going forward, it's 2 or 3 days a week in the office for certain teams as they come together on jobs and they go home and work. It's going to reduce our office space. You know, a lot of us on this call have probably been working remotely for a long time, just between travel and doing work all over the country. So it was fairly easy for me. But some of our more, you know, the production people, I think, that are used to being in the office every day and having someone tap them on the shoulder, I think that's kind of missing. But I do believe the future is going to be very, very different from an office space perspective. And how we coordinate, I was a little worried that it would impact our quality because, like you said, for you, that design element that really in the consulting space translate to how we coordinate with your team better and how we improve or maintain the quality of the documents. I think that's been a slight challenge for some people, but I think we've all done a good job. So I'm very hopeful that we can have this quasi-remote office situation in the future.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, you know, and I think in terms of, I mean, there's just so many things where people having that flexibility. And from our perspective at our office, I mean, you know, maybe they don't work, you know, 8 to 5, they're working at home, you know, they get up a little late or work a little after dinner when, you know, but as long as it's getting done, it gives you, you know, people with their lives and their families and things, give them a lot more flexibility. So I think that part's positive, you know, going forward.
And I'll end this here, but we had a meeting like this in my organization, and I made a comment that, wow, this is great. We're working from home. I can have lunch with Jennifer, and there's no commuting, and, you know, isn't this wonderful? And everybody came unglued. You don't have kids. I'm working full time. I'm teaching my kids from home, and I'm being and it's definitely a different challenge for some. But yeah, I think it's gonna have a very strong presence in our future.
Well, true confession, I think I worked from home for like 1 week. I'm here in the office.
Okay.
And I don't even have little kids anymore, but it was still too much.
Anna, you had a question?
Windom, this is Nelson Stone in Las Vegas. I'd like to introduce myself to you. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Listen, I think it's important. I wanted to, first of all, introduce myself as a civil engineer. I'm one of your affiliate members and in the AIA. I wanted to get more involved here the last year or so, and I think this Zoom call stuff is really great. My point to meet you more in a direct way is that you also will recognize me as the Vice Chairman of the Clark County Planning Commission. So to you and the other folks on the call, what I want to let you know, not as a civil engineer, but as a planning commissioner as we go forward in this new world, you, your firm, other architects on the line, it is very different for us to review,
Sure.
assess, and approve your projects with this new world. And I did want to just let you know, and everybody else on the call or on the video here, that the value of reaching out to the commissioners that like to participate in briefings before our planning commission meeting is very valuable, and even more so now because it's all sometimes remote, sometimes protesters are there, sometimes they're not, but take advantage of that. My contact information is in your AIA book, but make a point to do that, because as you talk about doing work as an architect, we all know the first step is getting that entitlement.
Right.
And I wanted to reach out to you, of course, and you're very familiar, your face. I've seen you before, but we, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen probably every architect in town, and yet I don't know them directly, but we'll need to collaborate a little bit more to get your projects approved. And having to admit that I'm a civil engineer reviewing an architectural project, trust me,
Happens all the time.
Trust me, I bend myself to elevate to your level, and please take advantage of that so that we don't get hung up at the board on an item that we could probably on a technical level get past, because as you know, whether it's Henderson or Clark County or City of Las Vegas or North Las Vegas, occasionally a project will get denied because of the color of the paint or something really obscure that some folks on different boards may not fully understand or comprehend. So I invite you to reach out to me if you have anything in front of the county. I am Marilyn Kirkpatrick's appointee, so she and I talk a lot. And so with that, I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'll try to look for all of you folks when I see you at the meetings. If I see that AIA behind your name, I'll try to put a name to a face.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Nelson.
You bet.
Thank you, Nelson. Anna, you had a question?
Yeah, I do. Windom, you said you had hired during the pandemic, hired 4 new staff. What are some of the challenges training remotely, and what are some things that worked for you? Yeah,
the onboarding has been a little difficult. I mean, and I still haven't met none of them, right? It's all been virtual. We are starting something here at our firm with LinkedIn Learning. So one of the key things is we do everything in Revit here. So especially if they're in the production side, even on the design side too. So it's trying to get them trained up to the right Revit standards. So we just made that commitment for this LinkedIn Learning, and trying to do classes with the staff, to help make that better. But each one of them is at least made a trip to the physical office, but it's still kind of weird. They don't know their coworkers except for on a screen. So I think that it doesn't matter in office. I mean, we all know, as we all kind of got scattered around and working remotely, but all the relationships and things I think are a little more difficult. But it seems to be working out all right. I haven't heard any complaints from the people we brought in virtually. They seem to have meshed really well, but it's just hard for me. I like meeting people and spending time and especially our staff. So it's a little weird for me. So hopefully once the smoke's all cleared and we're all talking to each other, we make good choices who we hired.
Yeah, I know my young designers that still need a lot of training.
Yeah.
Miss being in the office with the one-on-one on a regular basis. So we've used LinkedIn Learning. We used it when it was Linda, and then we switched over to LinkedIn. We've been using that for about
You have
6
to tell
years
me how
now.
well it works. We just made the commitment to try it. And
Every Thursday we do a learning continuing education course with everybody remotely.
Yeah.
So we all do the same one, and that way we make sure that they're keeping up their studies, I guess. But yeah, it is difficult. We have to make I know I have to make a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of time for me personally, online, doing the Hangouts with Google or Zoom and sharing screen and just constant one-on-one over the phone. So yeah, I was just looking for any tips or tricks that you might have found.
One of the keys is it helps to have people that are sort of more independent, partners, right? Versus waiting to have everything kind of spoon fed to them, because, when you got young people that are just coming in the profession and things too, they, that sort of mentorship is really important, and virtually I'm sure is a lot more difficult. So sort of that self-starter, used to doing things on their own a little bit is certainly more helpful as an employee right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't had staff in the office since March 16th. So
yeah,
they've been working from home since then every day. And I'm actually surprised with this being their first job outside of school that the staff that I have is so gung-ho,
yeah.
I guess.
Maybe they're happy to have work too, to some degree, right?
That's true. Important. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
I saw two. I got Adriana. Yeah. I don't know. You're the Lee. You're in charge of who's next. So
go ahead, Adriana.
Okay. My name is.
Thanks, John.
Hi, Windom.
Hi.
My name is Adriana Gonoraski. I am the Senior Vice President of a structural engineering company in town, Innova Technologies. And my question is regarding the same things Anna was touching. Do you give the option to the new employees that you have to go remote or to come to the office? And how much is the percentage of the people who are working remote?
In our firm, percentage working remote is 75, 80% at least. But they have the option to come to the office. With our 3 locations, the office principals can determine, we want to keep it, me personally, I think there's nothing scientific about it, but about 30% of the staff. But we haven't even seen 30% want to be in a physical location. So it hasn't been a problem, but everyone has an opportunity. And we don't require anyone 100% to work from home. If they want to come in, they just need to get permission, and we'll look at where they're sitting in the office so there's some distance. But I wouldn't mind having a few more people in. We have a few, sort of trickling in where I am a little bit. I think we're going to probably be up to going from about 4 to like 6 or 7 people, but we have space here for 40 people. So we got lots of room to spread out. So I'm not going to sweat that, but it's those other areas where people, where do you do their lunch and, and it's just kind of weird. We all send somebody out to go get lunch, and then everybody has to sit at their desk by themselves. It's just kind of strange, but we adapt.
Yeah.
Okay. We actually opted to have everybody in the office, unless there are some cases of, some people who are high risk.
Yeah.
So those people are working remote. But we are encountering people who come and, have been in contact with people who ended up turning positive. So we immediately send them home, and they get tested, and so, and we think that one of these days, we may have to, or if somebody in the office gets positive, we will have to go back. We will all have to go back to remote like we did the first couple of months.
Yeah, we worry about that. We have, there's always, we've had, I'm not gonna say everybody's gone and gotten tested, but we've had lots of people go get tested because they may, you know, and they don't come in until they get the results, and they may have been around somebody. But you know, I mean, considering the trajectory, it's probably only a matter of time where, because we have 70 employees and 3 offices, so if someone, you know, no one has it yet, but I couldn't imagine what, statistically speaking, it doesn't happen to someone, and we have to figure out how to deal with that. What kind of made our situation more complicated? So when we built our office here in Henderson, we built a coffee shop on the first floor, social place for people to meet. So we kind of share common entrances in the building. So you got, you know, it's not just the staff, but I think for us, we've got, you know, we don't know who. When you have a public place like a coffee shop, you can't control who comes in, and they all have to wear masks and things, but you don't know where they've been, who they are. So it added a whole extra layer, and I do wonder if that sort of prevented some staff to maybe, I mean, besides having the free coffee for them, but, you know, want to come back just because we're more exposure. So
I'll take the free coffee. John, you have a question? And we'll make this our last question since it's the top of the hour.
Yeah, just real quick, Windom. My name's John. I'm your Sherwin-Williams Coatings rep. So for those of us that are product reps, you know, obviously this is a challenging time for us. We can't come in and personally visit you guys. So is your office open to and conducting virtual CEU presentations right now? Are those kind of on the back burner with the current situation as it is?
No, we'll take, I mean, I think virtual is, well, it's obviously the only way we would allow it right now. And, but no, we haven't had a lot though. We have less requests, but I think, you know, to kind of, for the product reps to get sort of things closer to normal, I think that's probably the way you got to go. But think, I mean, if you're, I mean, I think it's just difficult. I guess you could send the, you know, how do you get, say you got materials and people want to look at it, how do you get it in front of them? Everybody's remote. I mean, I feel for you, because that's a real challenge. But I think, yeah, virtual is the way to go, and we're open to scheduling them lunch and learns, and it's just a different way of doing it. I don't know how you handle it, really.
We're getting through it, but yeah, thank you for that info. Thank you.
Just to give you a little, I've got Sherwin-Williams in my house, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So far, so good. It looks nice.
Good. I don't pick paint colors, by the way. I stay away from paint colors.
Yeah, okay.
You couldn't ask for a better recommendation, John. Randy, any final thoughts?
I think it was a great conversation. I'm looking forward to the next one. And Windom, thank you so much for being
thanks
here
for everybody
and taking the time to share with us and answer the questions. Thank you all.
I hope it wasn't too boring.
You're fabulous, sir. Well done.
Thanks so much, Windom. Stay safe.
It was great.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, everybody.
Good day. Be safe, everyone.
Stay safe,
everybody.
Good to see you all.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Windom.
Bye now.